Welcome to ERO PCF1. Last time out we visited the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. So let's take a look what happened.
And across the line with a 32.6. Oh wait, a 34.9. Mateusz behind him immediately does a 32.6. And Quill on the mediums with a 34.3. Marek with a 31.8. We had quite a lot of guys pile out almost immediately. As Robbie does a 34.0 in the Williams. We've got a couple of invalidations behind them as well, I think.
I think one of them is actually Drake Dempsey, as he already did one lap on those mediums and already invalidated. So, very interesting.
Yeah, he's backed out of, I don't know if this is his in lap, maybe intentionally invalidated. Seems like the kind of thing Drake would do.
Maybe he's trying to give
and we've got a Mercedes front row, so that's qualifying over, right? We'll just end it there?
Yeah.
He's not going to want that to be his best lap. He's going to want to look for an improvement on his final set of soft tyres. As Mateusz Gola comes around the last corner now. And it opens DRS, and it's a 31.9, so he's still P4. Well, improves to P4 now as some guys behind him made improvements. Splits the Mercedes. So that's looking really close between those three. Just a half a tenth. Sorry, a tenth and a half separates Marek and the two Mateusz's in third, fourth, and fifth. And there's only another half a tenth up in front to Martowski, to Mateusz Jurgiel in his McLaren. And then obviously you've got Drake just being Drake.
We see some people also improving. We also have a yellow sector too. I don't know what that's about, but Foss is finishing out his lap. A 131.6 puts him in P2, in front of everyone else. On board with Nathan Powers.
Extra at the end.
Nathan Powers actually set a purple sector 2, a 7/10 improvement. If he manages to keep this up, this will put him in 4th position. He is on the second to last corner.
Put him right around Znamirovski and Bilbas.
He takes a
31.8. He might find some more time in this last sector. It's a 31.803, so he jumps both of them, goes into P4. Good run by the Alpine driver. With the timing of this lap, he's not going to have time to get back in the pits and put a new set of tyres on. So this is going to be his final flying lap, unless he wants to do multiple laps on this set of tyres. He's actually invalidated it. And so he's not going to have time for the Aston Martin boys to change his boots and send him back out again, unfortunately.
P17 so for our champion.
Starting near the back.
Mateusz Jelonek, the Mercedes driver, improving to P2. His teammate Znamirovski is currently on a flying lap, just started it in Sector 1 at the end. The
big snap of oversteer through there, though.
The game is lagging a little bit, so I cannot really see what is happening.
He's just coming through the tricky turn 8 out of the end of the first sector.
On the previous lap,
runs his line wide in turn 11, and he's going to get a tow from his teammate down the back straight here. Mercedes boys doing some tactical shenanigans. Jelenek giving Znamirovski a tow, hoping to push him further up that grid. Jelenek, you're going to see peel off to the left here, get out of the way. As Marek comes through the turn 12, takes a very nice inside line, cuts a lot of that curb, and he's a tenth and a half up, which is still going to give him one place, but there could be time to find here in this final sector as well if he's managed to keep his tyres in a bit better condition. As Robbie appears to have retired from the session. I'm not sure if he's binned it or just retired in the pits. Marek makes his way around 16, 17, and 18, and takes a decent line through 19. Got a little bit of understeer on entry, so didn't quite hit the apex like he would have wanted. And around the last corner, gets a big kick out from the rear end, and it's a 31.4. It's P2. Jumps his teammates. This is third for Mercedes. As Drake is just coming down the back straight, he was a 10th up in the first sector. As he's just coming now through turn 12, see if he can improve on this lap and see where it puts him. And right behind him on track is the Ferrari of Jacob Mikkelsen, who is currently in P10, so he'll be hoping for a big improvement as well. 6/10 off pole right now. See if he can get further up the grid with his lap, as Drake's now just coming around 16, 17, and 18. Takes a good tight line, carries a lot of speed as well, doesn't scrub too much off, and hits that apex perfectly on turn 19 as he comes in now to the final corner. Takes a lot of curb, keeps it within track limits on both apex and exit, and it's a 30.7.
Close to what I predicted. Close.
Jeez. Yeah, and Mikkelsen peels in. He invalidated the lap, so he is going to start P10. So that is going to set the grid.
So Drake Dempsey for Red Bull takes the first pole position of the season, followed by the Mercedes duo of Marek Znamorowski and Mateusz Jelenek. Mateusz Gola is P4 for McLaren, with Jonathan Foss in P5 for AlphaTauri. P6 is Marvin Muir, P7 last season's champion Mateusz Gola, P8 Nathan Powers, P9 Ian Bilbas, and Jacob Mikkelsen rounds out the top 10.
We are starting. We have 3, 4, and 5 red lights, and it's a long hold up as always. And we are underway for the United States Grand Prix, and it looks like Drake actually got a really good start, as Namirovski doesn't really have a line on the inside to push for P1, but we did have 3 wide with both Mercedes boys and Mortowski, but everything looks like went well. We have no spins in first turn, so everything is going pretty good so far. We have some people going too wide, one Alpine and a Williams in the mid pack, but looks like everyone has went away cleanly.
Yeah.
And while I'm saying that, we have a yellow
we've
flag.
got a spinner.
It's our championship.
Yeah, Mateusz Gola.
It's Gola, our champion from season 6. Very unfortunate indeed. Thankfully, I don't see any damage on his car, so he can just try to get close to these guys. We have some people going side by side again. Pavlakovic and the Red Bull of Davidos on this longest straight of the calendar. Pavlakovic is actually getting some slipstream from Patrick in front of him, but Davidas has the inside line, but he slows down and lets Pavlakovic through. And while that was happening, Patrick actually got Horak, the Aston Martin driver, and the other Aston Martin driver is trying to overtake Davidos and is successful in.
As Jay Nelwell's pressuring Mikkelsen for 9th place, and he might try a bit of a lunge here into turn 11. Thinks better of it, and we've got another spin, which is Mateusz Gola again spinning in sector 1 at the back, unfortunately. Patrick in the Alfa Romeo is in P11, but he's coming under some pressure now on those medium tyres. He's had a good start, made some places, and has Ben Horror behind him on the softs, who is going to try and make a move into turn 12, down the inside, late on the brakes, and he's just going to sneak through into that place. Patrick decides better than fighting that. It's just going to cost him time in the long run. As Quill and Tuka now go side by side right behind them. Tuka's trying to make a move, trying to recover from his poor qualifying, and gets down the inside into 15. That's not an overtaking place.
Oh, and they go side by side into 16,
side
17,
by side
and
through
18.
16, 17, and 18. Duke can hold this. He's going to have the inside line for 19. But Quill just about leaves him space and manages to keep the place, but he did run off track in the process. But I don't think the game's going to ping him for that. I think he was just about ahead before he went off track. But Drake at the front is absolutely flying. He's already built this lead out to almost 3 seconds from the 2 Mercedes guys. Marek obviously not going to have DRS here, but the guys behind him all are, so we'll have to see here if Mateusz Jelenek is going to play the defensive game and try and hold the guys behind, but no, he's going for the move.
And there was contact.
And, Jurgiel tries to make a bit of an audacious lunge as Znamorowski let Jelenek without fighting too hard as their teammates. But there was contact on the apex and it didn't really come off. He's going to try Tuka's move,
contact.
And there's big contact. And it's going to slow both of them. Marvin Muir tries. Oh, and Znamorowski's round. Thank God ghosting's on. That would have been like 8 cars in that pileup. But Marvin's dropped off a little bit going around turn 11, and instead Ian Bilbas is going to be coming right up behind him. It's a 3/10 gap, as we've got side by side behind them with Jonathan Foss making a move on Nathan Powers as well. Wilson just hunting around behind them, seeing if he can find a gap. As Matowski's having to hold off Marvin Muir. Marvin's trying to go around the outside in 13. That's brave. It's going to give him the inside line for 14 and 15 here. And there's a bit more contact. Jurgiel shoved off the track. And Bilbas tries to sneak through, but Jurgiel manages to hold him off. But they're going side by side through the 16, 17, 18 complex again. Bilbas thinks better of it, though, and just slides in behind before turn 19.
He's not defending, let's see, and he does the dive bomb. Let's see if he manages to do it, and there was slight contact, hopefully no damage, and that gives Bilbas the opportunity to try and go around the outside. They do make contact.
He's round!
Oh, Mortowski is round!
And now has Namarovsky right behind him, who's gonna have a better drive here, better run. And Nathan doesn't have the DRS down the straight, so expect Marek to make a move.
But he tries to do it.
And Nieto's having a look as well. Oh, and there's contact on the exit. And Nathan basically shoves Marek off the track.
Oh my god, this is not good.
Elbows out racing.
We're
at 2021 Hungary. Nathan's just cosplaying as Fernando Alonso, I think.
Znamierovski has to just pull away from that overtake and has to stay behind of Powers.
Yeah, he's got to compose himself a little bit.
As Powers drifts and goes into the pit lane and they touch. I don't think there's damage.
Unexpected, I guess. But I think Marek's car's probably alright. Yeah, his front wing's all still intact, but he's going to be compromised here down into turn 1. And David Nieto is going to have a look, maybe? No. Drake's just going to close up into the DRS range here through Sector 3. The superior grip on those brand new medium tyres. He's gained about 6/10 in a corner, so that's pretty nuts. Duca is being slightly held by his teammate as the top 3 all pit. And Jonathan Foss carries on because obviously Bilbas pits, so you don't want a double stack. So we've got Bilbas, Jelinek and Mikkelsen all in the pits, which promotes Drake up to P2 now as he overtakes Duca into turn 1. So Duca's not going to fight that all too hard because it's just going to cost him time if he tries. He's going to want to try and dick with Drake if he can here through Sector 1 and get the DRS down that back straight, which should give him a reasonable bit of breathing room over Patrick and Quill behind him on that same strategy.
As Jelinek rejoins behind Moore.
Yeah. These guys have been fighting most of the race. See, that's the undercut from Marvin. He pit 2 laps earlier, and he's managed to jump Jelinek. He didn't quite get Bilbas, he's very close behind him, but he's managed to jump Jelinek. So that basically puts him into a net P3 in the race once everybody's pit and all filtered out.
And Jelinek fighting for P9, and Foss is actually rejoining the track.
Whoa.
And
yeah, having to do that extra laps cost him quite a lot of time. So he's behind Mikkelsen and Jelinek and Marvin Mur. Managing to stick quite well with Bilbas after he's been overtaken with those warm mediums that he hasn't pit with yet. And Nathan's managed to make a move on Martin Horak into turn 12. But he's going to try and go around the outside in 13 on Elwell. Oh, it's a great move using the extra grip on those.
But there was contact. And Horak had to stop on track.
Pile up on the track, and George Parr's going to take advantage of this and make up 2 places. Martin Horak had to completely stop as Nathan was sideways on the track in front of him. Josh Parr just managed to sneak through there and make up 2 places up into P12.
Oh, Horak now trying to go around the outside, but there was no way that he was going to be able to make that move. As Powers goes into the pit lane.
Nathan pits. Those tires must either be dead or he has damage, but he'll be pitting here for the mediums, taking these to the end.
We see a battle with Pavlakovic and Mikkelsen. The Ferrari and McLaren driver looks like they are continuing their battle from real life. And Mikkelsen just goes around the inside. Pavlakovic doesn't defend. He had ERS if he wanted to defend, but there was no point. And just behind them...
Side by side behind with Mervin and Fost.
And there is contact between Mer and Pavlakovic. That might be damage, but we are unsure. And he's trying to go around the inside.
He's diving into turn 15. That seems to be a favoured place of our drivers today, but
and Foss
I would never consider that an overtaking place. I'm not that brave
Mikkelsen spins and uses spins and uses reset the track as well.
Oh.
Is that the second time today from him?
Not from him. It
not
was
from him.
A McLaren that did it earlier.
Duca trying to go around the inside into turn 13 on Davidos and makes it stick.
Makes a good move. He's up to P7. He's just 1.2 back from Jacob Mikkelsen, who has dropped out of DRS range of Mateusz Jelinek. If Duca can gain this time here through 16, 17, 18, which it looks like he's going to do just to sneak in the DRS. He does, but Jacob sneaks into Mateusz's as well. So they're both gaining time on the Mercedes in front of them, who's dropped back 3 seconds from Marvin. So I wonder if he's got some minor damage. He's dropped by 3 seconds in a couple of laps. Gain. And yeah, we've got spins at the back. I think it's Robbie who's spun through 16, 17 and 18.
While that is happening, Tuha went around the outside of Mur. and has overtaken him for P4.
Yeah, just squeezes him a little bit on the outside of turn 13. It basically says, "This is my corner. You're not getting the power down. I'm on brand new soft tyres." So that's going to definitely give him that pace advantage, and he's putting it to good use, showing the power of the alternate strategy despite a very disappointing qualifying from him. Although this is kind of what he did last season in PC2. His qualifying wasn't always the best. He did take a fair few pole positions, but there was a few races such as Mexico where his qualifying was not great, but then he made it work in the race. 18% as Tuca's up around about 40, and he's going to have the DRS advantage. And you can see Bilbas in front of him. So it's where his target is, that's where he's going for. He does make the move over Jonathan Foss and up into the podium positions, starting... Where was he? Like P17 after qualifying?
I think P18.
Tuca's had a really, really good race, kept it clean, and now only needs to gain 0.8 of a second up to Iron, who's on those 12-lap old medium tyres. So this is the point where the softs do start to wear off. His Drake is a 32.5.
Fast.
That's not even. That's just stupid. Drake with a 32.5. Jesus. Yeah, and he's now 8 seconds ahead of Bilbas, so these guys are losing quite a lot of time to Drake, because Jonathan Foss is going to make a move on Tuca, though, into turn 1. He's going to fight this as long as he can. I think it's a fight he's unlikely to win in the long run, but it's going to give his teammate a cushion of protection. The more he slows up Tuca, the bigger that gap to Iron Bilbas is going to grow. I think Marek just about got a good enough exit to protect himself. Matt Horak has a thing about a dive, puts the nose in, but it's... Ooh, there's a lot of contact on Apex, but Marek just about manages to hold the place. Runs Martin Horak wide on the exit of 13, but Martin Horak keeps his foot in, and he's going to get the inside line here through 14 and 15.
Oh, and Mortovski's trying to go...
try and fight this.
Oh, and there was contact!
Whoa! Big smash, but they both survive. But
Somehow.
that's going to keep Marek in 7th place and promotes Padraig on those soft tyres up into P8. And David Nieto in the second Red Bull into P9 now.
Mortovski has damage.
He rounds the final corner to win round 1, Season 7 for ERO PC1. As Bilbas just finishes 16, 17, 18, comes around turn 19 now. Keeps it within track limits, doesn't want to get another penalty, which is going to cost him even more places. As he rounds this final corner, and he takes P2 on the road, but Tuca's managed to close that gap up to just 2.4 seconds, and he's going to steal P2 on penalties by 4/10. Jonathan Foss finishes P4, Mikkelsen P5, Mateusz Jelinek coming over the line now, no penalties, he's going to be in P6, with one of the Alpines, which is Luke Mills, right behind him, but a lap down. Padraig manages to take P7, he managed to get Marek on that last lap. And Marek also loses a place to Davigneto behind with the penalties, so that's going to be a 1st and an 8th place for Red Bull. Pretty good constructors' points. And Jaden did manage to catch Matowski on the penalties with that damage that he had on his front wing. And Jaden manages to take the final points-paying position for Williams.
So Drake Dempsey wins his home race in round 1 and takes maximum points for Red Bull, followed by Tuca Rakola in the Aston Martin and the 2 AlphaTauris, with Iron Bilbas finishing ahead of Jonathan Foss. The reserve drivers Padraig Dougal and David Nieto take points. Drake Dempsey's win means that Red Bull also lead the constructors by a gap of 4 points to the strong team result from AlphaTauri. Mercedes and Ferrari both have 10 points, currently tied for 4th place. PC1 races every Sunday at 4 PM UK, 5 PM CET. Join us then for more exciting Formula 1 racing.